Hey everybody! Don't you hate it when AI does not know something that you love? Like, for instance, one of my favorite bands, Cheekface. AI doesn't know much about it. Now, it's kind of an obscure band. They're America's local favorite band, is how they bill themselves. But AI doesn't know about it. And I want them to because it's a wonderful band. In fact, I'm a self-proclaimed cheek freak, which is what they call super fans. And I want everybody to know about it. And if AI doesn't know about it and all these tools don't know about it, so I wanted to help the search results a little bit. And the way that you do that is you help augment the retrieval of what happens there. So I also am very excited. This post here from Jacob, we have a package. Cloudflare has this package now where we have all these new LangChain abstractions, and they're awesome. They are super fun, and I wanted to play with them, and so I did. Here's an example of what one of them is. So we have a vector database, if you didn't know about that. We have a vector database called Vectorize. And if you've never played with the vector database, it's exactly what I want to do, right? I want to take these lyrics and I want to put them in the vector database, and then I can search for kind of a random word and it will go and will find exactly what I want to do. So based on what the thing is, it will go and it will search a corpus of information, of documents that I put in there, right? So I'm going to put in all of Cheekface's lyrics, and then we'll be able to see if they can find it. And so I started playing with that. I loaded it up. We have this R2 storage. I went and I put all the lyrics that I knew at the time into this place so that it could be searched. And then I ran them. I chunked that up. I kind of split them up because Cheekface has really great one-liners. And I put each one of those one-liners into here where you could do a search. Here I built a little API so we can see. So like here, if I do this little search here, and I'll do pretzel because I think this is a great example of it. So if I'm looking for a specific word, pretzel, it did a really good job, right? So it returned back here, maybe a giant pretzel could make you feel better, which is one of my favorite verses, but it also talked about snacks. It's talking about noodles, Pringles, right? It found different sort of snack foods that were kind of related to that, which is really powerful and kind of what you want to do, because what I had in mind was this. I wanted to have it be able to chat and just like talk to the biggest cheek freak that I know. And so I started that. I made this little application. It's a little silly. And before you get like stoked that I recreated this AOL Instant Messenger. I actually built this with ChatGPT. I went to GPT-4. I posted a picture of an old AOL thing. I said, I want to build one of these and check it out. So now here it is. It says, let's up and let's say I want to go to the mall, right? So there's some lyrics about up malls. Let's see what happens here. Keep the receipts if you want to turn life's gift to the mall. Yeah. So awesome. So I made this like little dorky AI thing. We don't necessarily need this. There's a Discord if you want to if you are a cheek freak and you want to hang out with other cheek freaks, you can do that. But I thought I'd play with this a little bit. So what I'm doing now, I'm able to chat. So let's see if I might go get a pretzel. And I got to work on it a little bit. I got to work on this prompt a little bit. A giant pretzel can make you feel better. Awesome, there, and it's using a pretzel emoji. So it's being clever. It understands what it is. I'm starting to feel like what it is. This is definitely very alpha, but a good example of retrieval augmented generation. I'm going to show you some code here really quick. So first I'll show you the search is really easy. So it comes in. I'm using a framework called Hono, which runs on Cloudflare workers, and it looks pretty nice, right? So I'm going to get the search. When I do a get, like I did this last search, and I pass in the queue for the query, I'm going to get, here's this, this is the LangChain wrapper. So I'm going to get the embeddings, and I'm going to hit the vector store, and then I'm going to do a similarity search, and then I was returning those. So that's basically how I was doing that search. So it's really nice, right? The vector store is pretty accessible. I'm able to hit that and get what I need. Check this out. So this is using LangChain. If you haven't used LangChain before, it's really nice abstractions around common things that you need to do. And what I'm doing here is actually pretty common. You can imagine if you're trying to build a chatbot, specifically, if you're trying to build a chatbot and you need to have more information, you're probably going to need to do this thing called RAG, where you retrieval augmented generation. I'm going to go and I'm going to help it because it doesn't know information. So I'm going to go and retrieve that. Now to do that, I need to set up the query in such a way that it has the information when it goes to chat. I can do that by hand if I wanted to, right? I could go and figure things out. But LangChain's kind of been there already, and there's these really nice abstractions that wrap around. And what you can find is that because you might not be using just one model, right? You might be using different models. You might want to have an abstraction so that you can switch the models in and out. I'll walk through it here a little bit. So I'm making a new embedding because that's what you do. You embed the stuff to put into a vector database. So there's this really nice wrapper called embeddings. Then there's this Vectorize store, and it takes that embedding. So now this Vectorize store knows what the data is there. So I can make a query now, like you saw when I did the similarity search. I can make a query. It will embed that in the proper way, go find these vectors and come back, and it just kind of works. Right now, I was also able to fill that vector up using this same library. So I was able to build the vectors that I put into the vector store. Awesome. I'm using this chat Cloudflare Workers AI, so it's a little wrapper. We have lots of models that are up that you can chat with, use text generation. And I'm making this retriever. So this just the store has this method on it from LangChain called retriever. So I pull the retriever off. Again, I'm going to get this body is what I was passed in. So that app on the front side, I pass all the messages and I pass a user message. And the messages, I get it in the right format. And then I build this thing. So there's these things called prompt templates in LangChain, and I pass in these from messages, and there's these different messages. And this is a system message. If you haven't seen this before, this is actually pretty amazing. I just basically talk about what I wanted it to do. Now this is how I build. I say, this is exactly what I'm trying to build, and I write it in English, and sometimes it works. And this is one of those cases where it worked pretty well. So you're a huge fan of the Cheekface. You're known as a Cheekfreak because I want him to talk about that. I want the thing to self-identify as a Cheekfreak. You're obsessed with the band, and especially with their lyrics, and you always quote them. The lyrics are included below and are relevant to your conversation. Use at least one lyric and or song title in the context of the conversation in every single response. Stay conversational and quirky. That's why it's doing the weird sort of emojis. I'm not sure I love it. We can play with that. But that's what I tweak, right? I can kind of go and iterate on that. And you should never talk about their albums because I don't have them there and I don't want it to hallucinate it. I don't want it to make stuff up. Only about the lyrics, right? Limit yourself to 5 or fewer sentences because it kind of goes off the rails sometimes. It just keeps talking. Very excited about Cheekface. I am too. If you can't find a relevant one for the conversation, just say the first lyric. So sometimes that will happen where like it thought it was relevant, but he can't make that work in there. So we're just going to talk about it and kind of awkwardly in the conversation, as we might do, us Cheekfreak fans might actually do that, just say a lyric. And then we're going to pass in those lyrics. And then I'm passing in the previous conversation, so it has context, right? It can know all of the things that are there. And then I'm going to pass in the user message from the user from that little bar there. So this is really neat. So I'm using this. There's a thing called the LangChain Expression Language, or LCEL, and it lets you pipe things together. So much like how in Unix, how you can send information from one step to the next, it kind of does this as well. So these are all piped together. I'm using a thing called a runnable sequence because I think it's easier to read. But you can do .pipe, and you take the start of something and then you push it through, and then it goes through each different step. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm getting those lyrics, right? So I want the lyrics very specific to the way that we're going to start this off. Is I'm going to do this chain.stream user message, and that's this chain that I'm building here. So I'm going to pass the user message in. This user message goes in here, and it's going to output. The input that comes in is this user message, and it's going to output these values, lyrics and user message. This is a way that we can make that happen. So I'm going to do this vector store retriever. And if I just pass that user message to the vector store retriever, it's going to go and it's going to find those documents. Now, those documents that I want, they're not quite in the right format that I need for a prompt here. So I'm going to format those the way that I want it to look to this prompt. And then the user message is what I want, because remember, I'm going to pass the user message into the chat down here. And I'm just going to do a pass through. So remember, I'm passing this in, I'm going to do a pass through. So now when it comes, it takes both of these and it moves it into the next thing. It moves it into this prompt, and it has both of those to replace. So it has the user message and it has this lyrics variable to replace into this prompt. It's going to build that prompt, and then I'm going to take that prompt and I'm going to push that prompt into the chat object. So that chat object, again, all we did to build the chat object was this chat Cloudflare workers, right? And that could be any sort of chat. So now that prompt has gone into the chat and I get a result, and then I'm going to parse it out. I'm going to parse out the string. So now I have the string response right here. So this will end with a string response, and I'm going to do a stream, because you can do that. You can stream from these chains, and Cloudflare Workers AI allows you to stream as well. So we're going to pull out one token at a time, which is like a tick, 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 tick. That's how that was working. And I'm going to loop through that. I'm going to write it out. So basically, super fun. I am building in public. This is how we're doing. If you're interested in this sort of thing, there's a GitHub for it. And then also make sure to check out Cheekface, right? You should listen to Cheekface. They actually released a new album, so I'm already behind. I need to put more lyrics in there to make this work. Anyway, I would love to know what you're building on the weekends. This is what I spent building on the weekends. I feel like this is a nice way to when you run into something where you're like, I wish it knew that, that's a good time to lean into this retrieval augmented generation. Really fun. Please check it out. Let me know what else you should think I should build. I'm thinking maybe I'll do like automated fan art. I'll have like listen to the lyrics, have it look at the lyrics, and then build fan art from that, because there's a lot of cool art here. Mandy, the bassist, does really awesome artwork. If you look at like some of their artwork here real quick, the brand new album today, but like just gorgeous stuff. Oh man, I don't have some of these. I need to get this. This is really fun. All right, thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you're building, and I'll keep you updated on what I'm building if you're so interested.